Today at 1 p.m. That's a little over an hour ago. Now, the matchup, Titans versus Scarabs.
Is today Sunday?
I did too much one on that one for my throat to be in the same spot I did when I was doing that. But hey, we're here. The blood feud of the ages. A lot of fun, I'm sure, to be had with this one. I'm very excited for what this is going to be. And of course, I'm very excited to thank our friends over at Skulls for providing some fantastic merchandise. If you're a fan of the Scarabs or the Titans, or if you were a fan of the Scarabs and then, suddenly maybe your favorite player, Stu, got moved over to a different team and you need a new jersey, I've got good news for you. Shop.hi-rezstudios.com/SBL or shop.smiteproleague.com will take you to the same place. You can get yourself some jerseys as well as other merch, t-shirts, things like that you can find, and of course, brought to you all by Skulls. So thank you to our merch sponsor, and of course, thank you to everyone out there who is buying these fantastic products and rocking them out there. Of course, if you tweet us, I'm assuming if you tweet at Smite Pro with your favorite team, maybe even at that, you're at least going to get a retweet, probably going to get a mention somewhere, and you'll look good doing it. It's Gore. We got Trelly. If I had more water between the sets there, I probably could have done the blood feud more. Well, it doesn't help. Jordan also lowered the voice a little bit, which fits the video way better. But I can't do that deep.
I can tell you that I didn't realize it was you until the second time I watched it. Yeah.
Nice.
I was just, I mean, I guess good editing by Jordan, but also just good voice work by you.
Man. I'm real proud of my monster truck announcer voice, and that's all that is in my mind. And I use it way too often at home. It really does irritate my wife. Either way, we can shove that off to the side and instead look at the Sunday matchup. Now 2 p.m. is the schedule to start here. Scarabs and the Titans. The penultimate set for the week. Leviathans and Valkyries will be playing a little bit later. And of course, how this is going to affect them. The Titans come in and lose their set yesterday up against the Warriors. Not an easy team to try and take down. The Scarabs find their first win, though, over the Valkyries. And so the question is how this one will go for either of these teams. And Trelly, with the way that the standings are right now, pretty important. I think J-Mac had touched on it in set number 1. But the amount of wins separating the Titans from the Scarabs and now from the Bolts. Well, from the Bolts is separated down to 0. From the Scarabs, from the Valkyries, is only 1 set win. So this one could be important depending on how it shakes up the standings.
Yeah, the standings are looking insane at the moment. Like coming from what we started Season 9 with to where they are currently, there's been a lot of flip-flopping, a lot of teams taking games off one another. No one sitting undefeated, which is always extremely exciting, right? There's no definitive top number 1 seed. It's always been a mix and matching, which is always fun to see. But yeah, very important matchup, as you said. You want to make sure you're not sitting at the bottom of the threshold, so you want to make sure you're trying to get that win whenever possible. So important for both these squads, no doubt.
Well, the talk of the town today has to be in one place and one place only, and that's the duo lane. We're going to look over at the Tartarus Titans here because they only have one change. A little easier to maybe handle it. You're going to notice someone is missing from that. It's he's here. You can see him better than I can.
Yeah,
It
was
for
dramatic effect.
Stu didn't show up to the set.
What?
First game on the Titans.
Late.
He's hanging around for the interview, but it is Stu joining them. And there's a lot of talk. I mean, Stu, if you look at him as a player, has done phenomenally, I think, since joining the league. Now a little over a year since he was picked up there for the Scarabs. But you have to look at the duo lane, Aurora, playing with Cyclone Spin up to this point since Season 5. It was worth mentioning again, but yesterday we were talking about the fact that as a duo lane between the two of them, they either won an event or lost to the team that won every time until this last Masters, where they lost to the Kings. And so, a definite change of pace for him over there. But you get a nice little reunion in some ways, right? A lot of old members of the Scarabs that played at one time or another, linking up one way or another, now with Paul and Aurora. It definitely makes an interesting landscape for the duo lane.
Yeah, I would say so. And also, Stuart, the type of player that brings a level of consistency, I think. We were talking a bit ago about how Cyclone had such a diverse god pool in the sense of sometimes he played warriors, sometimes he played assassins. And sometimes the Titans just want an ADC, They just want a nice hunter player over there. So hopefully that's what Stuart can bring to the table. And also a very consistent ADC nonetheless.
Yeah, maybe not the debut they wanted to yesterday, a 2-0 win for the Warriors over the Titans. But they still, admittedly, I think, looked pretty good in a lot of those moments. Improvements from Game 1 to Game 2. And now we'll see what kind of improvements they can continue to make. But you don't have to hear it from me. You can hear it instead from one of the players themselves. We got Stuart, the newest member of the Tartarus Titans, standing by for an interview.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gore and Charlie over on the desk. Got Stuart, the newest ADC for the Tartarus Titans, had his debut yesterday, but now he's having his next matchup against the team that he's no longer a part of in the Solar Scarabs. But Stuart, kind of talk to me a little bit about really just your journey in the SPL. I mean, you got brought in as a rookie last year. You've had to make a lot of change-ups with your team. Now you're over here on an entirely new team. I mean, kind of tell me about your journey so far.
I think I've been pretty lucky on the teams I've gotten on, kind of, but I'm always confident and basically improving and stuff. So it's pretty nice to be on the Titans now.
And one thing that Des kind of mentioned is, you're filling in for Cyclone Spin, who's a very diverse player. He plays just about anything that's on the God roster at this point, and kind of taking over as more of this traditional kind of consistent, carry. I mean, how does it feel kind of jumping into a lane with Aurora, kind of trying to fill in those shoes for him?
It feels really nice. It's not a hard thing to do. It's just, anything is the kind of the same stuff, you play, but I don't know, it's just normal, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. And then now, former enemy, then made ally in your own lane, and now once again your enemy. I mean, talk to me about the matchup you're going to have against Yarkor. He's moving back over to the 80 carry role. You're going to be facing off against him. We're going to be expecting to see some sparks fly in that lane.
We'll see. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see if Stuart's able to find some kills up against Yarkor in the lane. We'll see how that dual lane goes just in general. Should be a fun matchup, so make sure you stay tuned. We're going to throw it back over to the desk to keep it going.
Now, Charlie, I don't know if you felt it. The electricity in the air. Blood feud.
Yeah,
is flowing.
Stu's humble. What he meant to say was Yark's going in the dirt, and I'm going to, that's what he meant.
They're putting the Scarabs 6 feet under. He wants nothing to do with them. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly
what he said, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. His eyes said everything. That's what
exactly.
That's what you guys can't see. The camera, it changes it a bit, but those eyes, he was out for blood.
Yeah, those are the eyes of a cold-blooded killer, Stuart. And he's going to be taking on the duo lane of the Scarabs here. Hurry joining the SPL once again. And Hardcore moving on over. And look, he had a hell of a way back. Got a solo kill yesterday in the first set up against Wowie. And if those of you who have maybe a long-term memory here, last time he was over in this role, he soloed everyone at least once and had a very successful time mechanically. Really, really fantastic player. And of course, Hurry joining the squad alongside him. Feels like yesterday there was a lot more direction to the Scarabs than they were used to. Even in the post-game interview, they said it was a little sloppier than they would have liked, a little sloppier than maybe they would like to bring in. But as of now, it feels like they've at least put themselves in the right direction.
Why's Hurry went yawning at 2 p.m.? We were talking
That's
about
this prime nap time.
I mean, Cuvo, we were talking about wakes up at 8. There's no way Hurry. Do you think he just rolled out of bed for this set? You think he was just Yeah, I doubt
That's
it.
Scary D.
Scary D just rolled out of bed for this one. Either way, I expect to see sparks fly from the dual lane, as you highlighted, and no pun intended. I want to see some kills from Yarkor. I mean, I do. I want to see the
ADK.
The AD killer. I want to see him go for those solo kills. Stuart has been playing.
How many references to that do you think I can drop? Probably has to stop after the pregame, right?
Yeah, I mean after that, but we just saw the video, so it's still fresh in chat's mind. But I still want to see the Yarkor play his exact style, which is aggression. I think Stuart has been playing a lot of the Heimdall's trying to run away. He got soloed by Vote yesterday, and Yark, he wants to bring that fire as well. I do expect to see that same style of play continue.
Well, it's also fun to watch. I mean, dual lane, we've been talking a lot about them. Priority and pressure over on that side of the map has been incredibly important. And I think that historically, Aurora, one of the most tenured SPL players, period, playing since Season 1. A lot of experience under his belt, both in good and bad, right? Has been very successful, I think, more recently, though. The question is going to be how you can match that on the other side. Hurry, when no one to scoff at, played around in the league for a long time, but has been spending most of his time as a support in the SCC, not here in the SPL, so we'll see how that ends up affecting them over in the long lane. Of course, the rest of the team always worth mentioning, and we can talk about them. Are in picks and bans here for game number 1. Solar Scarabs will be on the left-hand side with the first pick opportunity, and of course the bans that will come through. My question is going to be how much of this becomes targeted. If you're looking at the Warriors set versus the Titans yesterday, Hell, Kabrakan, Yamoja were a lot of their favorite bans up against the Titans. And you can see, outside of the Hell, the Kabrakan, the Emoja, and the Morrigan being the most banned gods against the Titans. Hell maybe being a little more of a recent addition. Well, with your first pick, Trelly, it feels like that Yamoja or the Kabrakan can be a little more flexible.
Yeah, I would say so. Possibly the AMC is something also that we've seen a fair bit prioritized at the moment. I know that Boronic has been liking these ADCs in the mid lane, so we'll have to see if that's something the Solar Scarabs are trying to hold on to. Hades, however, has been a very popular pick and ban throughout the league. Everyone who's playing in solo lane at the moment has to have a Hades under the belt, or make sure you're taking that away because it just brings so much lane pressure, as well as damage with the new Book of Thoth style build. So it's nice to see the Titans take that one away, and I like the way the Solar Scarabs are going. Not letting the Morgan through, not letting Paul's Hell through as well. And finally, the Emoji you were talking about also going to be taken away. This is sort of par for the course. This is about what we expected thus far. But the Bracken does leave open the Ymir. That's something to talk about, because we know that so far the Scarabs haven't valued that Ymir pick. I think they've been letting it through and actually just picking Fafnir into it. That's what Hurrywin likes to do. We'll have to see if that's something they want to go for.
A lot of the talk yesterday, Cupid was a very high pick for them, although that was versus the Valkyries, maybe to strip that away from Wowie. You highlighted the Ymir. I was going to talk about the Atlas. I'm glad I didn't get the opportunity because it would have just been unnecessary. Ymir locked in first. And you got to think about this, and it's so wild to think about. Go back to the inception of the Scarabs. You had Zapman and 4 rookies joining. Of course, 2 of them with a lot of console experience, world champion experience in that regard from console. But otherwise, to SBL and to this level of play, especially recently, it was going to be a large gap to jump into as rookies. Then you come into what this team is now. Boronic, who's been on this squad since the inception for year and 3 quarters, almost 2 full years for him in the SBL now. And then you've got Hardcore, who's a world champion MVP. You've got Sam, guess what? World champion MVP. Scary D, world champion. And Hurry, who has been around the scene for a long time on successful teams, on not successful teams, all over the place. Every single person on this team, compared to the inception, wild amounts of experience now. And we'll get to see how this works out. The Ymir you had highlighted, locked in for first pick. Atlas Cupid is the response from the Titans. Daji, AMC now locked in for the Scarabs. Feels like a really good top 3 for both squads.
I would say so, especially with Paul getting the set. Well, we assume Paul taking that set mid as he usually does. The AMC gonna have. How many times have we seen the set AMC matchup? I mean, just today, I think we witnessed it at least twice, and now it's gonna be a 3rd time in a row we see set mid versus AMC. We assume, and also giving Sam for Soccer, taking away Sam for Soccer's Thor, but then in turn letting the Daji through. That's also a questionable call. Looking at the ultimates of the Tartarus Titans, there's no CC immunity there. That's gonna be, you're gonna be getting full value out of that powwow over in the jungle. So we'll have to see how that one ends up going through. But despite that, the ban's coming through. Ratatosker is gonna be taken away from the Titans, as well as just ADCs, Freya and Honor, something that's been prominent in the meta. Not really the Honor so much, but whenever there is some time to fight, it seems like that's the ADC you're going to pull out. On her does have a decent matchup into Cupid as well. Probably smart to remove that one.
Make it a little more controlling overall in the duo lane. And you have to imagine, I mean, even though the landscape has changed dramatically over the last year and a half at this point, but Stu, with at least some knowledge of what the Scarabs like to play, and he'll be able to see a little bit of this. Of course, Hardcore has only been playing this carry pick for 4 days, 5 days now, at least back on the roll. And so you can expect a lot from him. Like you said, the Freya, the On Her, banned away. Ratatosker, Lancelot on the other side. Cthulhu locked in. And while this has been popular with the Morrigan, it's also been popular on its own. Although we did see in, a couple of games ago, middle of the last set, how fast sometimes Cthulhu can just get burned down. Yeah,
and especially when you're up against 2 Hunters, which it seems like the Solar Scarabs will be slotting for. They've already got the AMC for that Prot Shred for the 2nd Hunter that will be coming through from Yark. And actually, Charybdis is being hovered as the Ardio's locked in for Scary D in the solo lane. So double Guardian, double Hunter composition. And again, plenty of Prot Shred. You don't have to worry about the physical damage. They've got it in spades. So this is a pretty stacked draft here from the Solar Scarabs. If I was talking about top picks in each role, I would have to consider most of the gods they've grabbed here in that conversation. Tartarus Titans, though, are saving that last pick here. Probably Layer's pick in the jungle. I mean, he went to the Shiva yesterday.
Yeah.
Wasn't a big fan. Honestly, his God pool has been questioning me as of recent, but the Robin, that is something that's going to get some immense value into the Dodgy in particular. You really don't have to worry about the Palau as long as you're holding on to Mystic Rush and Overhead K. You got plenty of CC immunity, as well as just really nice to dive AMC. I mean, you can just blink in, ult over the Stinger when you're ready to predict it, and you've got plenty of lockdown, plenty of CC to make sure that Baronic has to watch that safety. But I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that Bronick also loves the Charybdis. Like, he hasn't played it in a while, but he did play it actually yesterday. But point is, AMC does not get played in the long lane much.
And that's actually the point. I think yesterday, game number 2 in that set, Baronic plays the Charybdis. And then game 3, they locked in Charybdis, and we're like, okay, so Baronic's running back. And then they got the AMC, and it was like, okay, where's it going to go? It does kind of lead to, like you said, maybe some question marks, but not as many yesterday when they had both of them on the team. They threw the Charybdis over to Hardcore, and he looked pretty damn good on it. And the AMC, like you said, just feels better in mid. Good pressure, good kill potential. The question I have for you is going to be this double Hunter comp and, AMC Dodgy, Ymir, I guess, in the mid lane, alongside the Set, Raven, Atlas in mid lane, right? That 3v3. Does this double assassin give the Titans the capability to just run down the AMC? I mean, we just saw it work for the Bolts.
It definitely does. I think that the pressure onto AMC is going to have to be at an all-time high in the early, and then as the game sort of goes on, we've also seen what happens to Cthulhu when Charybdis with a kin size is nearby when he ults. They have so much prod tread, they have so much HP burn, which Cthulhu kind of needs. So I imagine the Tartarus Titans, as you said, are going to have a ton of pressure in the early. Try and put pressure onto the mid lane, try and make sure that Bronic doesn't get to free farm, not let this AMC get online. And if they do that, I think they'll be set up decently well for the late game. However, it's never that easy, right? It's never that easy of just, we picked pressure, so we win. You actually have to use it and apply it. And
we saw yesterday, right? They go for the double assassin twice in a row. The first game, they went for pressure. The Warriors said to the Titans, no. And it stopped pretty much right at that. In game number 2, they had a little more success in the early game, but there was definitely a way to handle it, and I think we got to see that showcased yesterday. So just like you said, just because you have it doesn't mean it's going to always end up working. I guess we'll see in game number 1 whether they are going to be able to close this one down as well as they would like. Can the Titans take down the Scarabs, or the Scarabs win the blood feud? Let's find out in game 1.
Thank you so much, Gore and Trelle. Jumping into our second set of the day, and a big one that we've been hyping up ever since the roster change has been made. We have Stewart going against his former team in the Solar Scarabs in the duo lane, and against his now former lane partner in Yarkor, who has made his transition over into the Hunter role. Hurrywin joining the team as the support. And the Solar Scarabs are able to find their first win just earlier on this week, Mifflin, and now looking to see if they can add a second one to their board as they face off against the Tartarus Titans.
And the Scarabs have got themselves a great composition for it, right? I agree with Trelle. This is a draft that is just comprised of top picks, top to bottom. The only one you might put an asterisk on are the duo lane between Charybdis and Ymir, but I've got Ymir pretty high tier, and I've got Charybdis pretty high tier in my own personal power ranking. So very excited to see how the Solar Scarabs decide to pilot this one. On the other hand, some selections that have become very customary for the Tartarus Titans. Feels like Paul's playing set every opportunity he can get, and at times has been very loud on this pick, has been able to make a lot of plays throughout the early transitions well in the mid and late game. At others, when the Tartarus Titans aren't exactly performing as a team, Paul is very quiet on this pick. Goose eggs at the end of matches. So we'll see which version we get here today. Otherwise, I'm looking at the entirety of this draft, and barring SOT in the soul lane, it's aggression top to bottom.
Hurrywin got picked up by a roar. Heart Bomb does hit from Stu. This should be a stun onto Hurrywin. It's going to put him low, but he's got a meditation to get some of that healing back. Yarkor able to solo out the green and the purple and get a decent bit of wave. So level 2 for the Charybdis. I just got to say, sitting there the entire time watching Hurrywin just get smacked by a roar, made me realize how satisfying the sound of Atlas autos really are when they hit.
Yeah, he's swinging the planet, man. It's got a lot of weight behind it.
I think it's like the whole universe.
I don't know the lore.
Whatever the whole mythology of it is. It's the astrolabe. So I gotta imagine it's like the galaxy or something.
Yeah, and if you're wrong, I'm sure chat's letting you know
Probably.
right now. So you can just go watch the VOD later.
Look, I'm not a geology major, okay?
Yeah. You know what? No. I mean, normally I would get us back on track. But if we're talking literally about astronomy, whatever.
No, I was making a bad bit, and Hurrywind is getting thrown in the middle of 3. We saw this play yesterday with the Tartarus Titans where Layers rotates at level 2, they pull it again, and they grab yet another first blood for the for the Titans.
Yeah, it seems like originally a Scarab.
For the Scarab.
We'll give you an out this time, but this is something I'd expected to see a whole lot of. The contestable farm, that scepter, is so important for controlling the rest of the laning phase. Junglers are very capable of pathing that way, and it seems like Layers has found his new bread and butter, just rotating through to that first scepter. Has got to be something these teams are aware of when they're playing against the Tartarus Titans, especially on a pick like Robin. Feels like at level 2, Robin's allowed to do just about whatever he wants on the map. You have to find an answer somewhere, so our Scarabs find it at the blue buff.
Yeah, blue buff stolen away from SOT. Means he'll have to play a little bit safer with his abilities. His mana conservation not going to be the easiest, and we know how many it takes to clear away. Baronic being fought by Paul. A very early 1v1 skirmish, but just as the blue gets stolen on the right side, Tartarus Titans grab the red, and maybe a little bit more. Yarkor gets picked up, has the Whirlpool to get away, and will use it, because look who is lurking back on the side again. It was Layers. Red buff stolen, making a purple buff as well.
Just so much farm taken. Contestable farm as well is just the farm that belongs to the Solar Scarabs. Layers, his rotation pays for itself in dividends on the left-hand side. Solar Scarabs need to get timer on both of those buffs. I love what we saw from Paul there, sacrificing his own farm just to guarantee a red buff invade. Layers should pull ahead slightly once he's able to fall back towards his own. Worth noting in Smite, invading, you get a little bit less gold, you get a little bit less experience. But when you're clearing out your own camps, that's where you start to see the value. So as of now, literally on the board, Sanford Soccer has a lead. Once Layers clears out his backs, his speed, and his own buffs, that's where you're going to start to see that Robin start to pull ahead.
You see a dive level 5 by Paul, but no mana left. Sanford Soccer goes in, has 1,000 cuts, and does some good damage, but now Layers is on the way. A slowdown, a root into place on a Baronic, and the skewer combo after. Paul finds a second kill for the Titans.
Yeah, Baronic just stepping too far forward there. I think had he used Swarm of Bees on Wave, likely would have ticked over to level 5 fast enough and maybe would have had Stinger to actually kill Paul, but decides to use his abilities on Paul, not enough DPS to actually hit pay dirt, and loses his life in the exchange. Tartarus Titans counter-punching for now. 2-0 start, plenty of invades. But looking at golden experience, the Solar Scarabs are doing a great job of just keeping it up elsewhere. Even Baronic and falling down was at least able to catch that wave with some of the honey, the passive, so doesn't even miss the experience there.
Layer shows up, splits one Harpy, but it's going to have to give up this blue buff yet again. No mana on SOT. Layers not wanting to fight against 2. Not really the best secure either for a Robin from range. So we're seeing the answers back from the Solar Scarabs, at least on the right side of the map, between the Totem of Coups and the blue buff invades. Seems that seems to be the name of the game for the Scarabs as to where they keep their farm game up.
It's the name of the game for any team that's playing against Cthulhu, right? What's SOT going to do about it? Not a whole lot. Ooh, Meyer spawned up. I'll walk out. You're not doing much about it. So invading blue buff, a very consistent tool to keep a Cthulhu behind. And Scary D already benefiting from a slight lead. Let's call it about 3/4 of a level favoring him. This is the answer you got to come up with, though. Someone's got to stop Layers from doing this.
Meditation from Hurry. Dive in by Sam. Wall gets the overhead kick, but Layers is still holding on to ultimate. Doesn't want to use it until that Palau goes through, and won't need it yet. Fields of Love finds 3. Hurrywin and Sam caught inside. Palau goes up. Aurora will get pulled back in, and the stinger from Baronic will put him down. A big rotation from Paul to come back in, though. Finds 1, and it's chasing down Baronic. One more hit will do it. Does he have to secure after the extra damage to get the spawns in? Has some good shots, but not enough on the follow-up after. It will just be a double for Paul at the end of the day.
Good Lord. Paul is getting active. That was my only complaint from the set in the previous set. Wow, I hate saying that. But he has really rectified it here. The Tartarus Titans mid laner is making his stamp note on the map. Worth noting, though, small interaction in that team fight that maybe changes the entire pace of it. The pickup from Aurora, that second ability on Astrolabe, actually grabs Sanford Soccer and tosses him while within Fields of Love. Fields of Love is never going to hit Dodgy in that scenario, barring that exact interaction. Sanford Soccer would have loved to have channeled Palau, but instead has to wait out that Mez, has to wait out that knockup, and it really limits who he was allowed to grab. Aurora's allowed to reposition himself, start channeling that ultimate, and sets up the Tartarus Titans so well.
Blue buff invade once again. It's a 3 rotation. Stinger again onto Layers this time, who will jump over the wall. And into the madness goes SOT, dealing with Scary D. But it seems the blue buff may have been able to be taken away this time around. SOT using that ult defensively. Freeze from Hurrywin will stop him from getting picked back up.
Yeah,
Charge in, but Hurrywin as good as dead this time. It'll be a 4th kill now for Paul on the set.
Yeah, Hurrywin just can't be walking there. You know Baronic's on the right-hand side of the map, so if anybody on the Tartarus Titans is there, just Paul would have likely killed Hurry, and that's exactly how it goes down. Tartarus Titans looking much better in this set, but 5-1, Golden Experience aren't looking so dire considering the pacing as of now. The Solar Scarabs, it's a tale of 2 games. On the left-hand side of the map, the Tartarus Titans can do absolutely no wrong. They've been continually invading the red buff as they continue to do so now. They've looked at that purple buff consistently as well. Whereas on the right-hand side, the Solar Scarabs control both blues.
Scary D dashes in, but there's no further follow-up there. Hurrywin will channel his ultimate, but red buff once again under siege by Layers, and the Titans will be stolen away. Palau is there. Layers doesn't have ult, doesn't have overhead kick, so he gets yanked back in. Good damage from Sam, and the bleed will take it down, but Baronic has lost out on his life as well. It's a rampage. 8 minutes in the game for Paul, and maybe a little more, unless the Solar Scarabs can back themselves away. 1-for-1 trade at the end.
Positioning on that AMC was poor, man. No reason to be barrel stuffing in a situation like that. You got ranged autos for a reason. Let's utilize it. We gave you, what is it, 55 units or 45?
55,
yeah, we gave you 55 for a reason. Play at that range. Baronic tries to get in a little bit too close and gets instantly punished for it. The Tartarus Titans, so good at dealing with this AMC once they've closed gap. That's why you've got the Emir. That's why you've got all this CC. Create the space, lock them down. Baronic just tries to get a little bit too active for my liking.
The fact that Paul, of all players, is the one who's currently 5-0. I mean, this is not to say that Paul isn't a good player by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, Paul's a player who will go 0-0 for 20 minutes of a game and then all of a sudden pop off at the end. But his team's getting him to pop off early on. Hurrywin out of position, will get thrown back in, goes
Good
down.
Lord.
It's just a matter of who gets the kill. It's Stewart who finds that one. 7 up for the Tartarus Titans against only 2 of the Solar Scarabs. But Mifflin, again, looking at the gold, looking at the XP differences, I mean, it's less than 1,000 gold and barely even close to 2,000 XP.
Yeah, can we see the actual value charts for each individual player? I'm trying to figure out where exactly this net worth is starting to be made up. 700 difference in the Soul Lane, Scary D over SOT. Baronic farming pretty well, actually, considering how fed Paul is. 1 and 3 on AMC, but only down about 800 gold total. The Tartarus Titans are getting a whole lot of killing done, but not a whole lot else. So the Solar Scarabs ever so barely able to keep their heads above water for now. And looking at the composition the Scarabs have got, we're starting to approach that point in the game, especially in 9-10, where with this composition, you could just start moving in towards neutral objectives. Gold Fury pulled out. Where the Tartarus Titans? Seems like they're still playing 9-9. They want the Pyromancer first? I suppose. This one's going down for free.
Gold Fury to the Scarabs. That bumps the gold right back up to even, 100. Now separating the 2 teams, 23 to 2,500 XP. Still for the Tartarus Titans. They're leading in that regard. You can see most of that level reflected over into the mid lane, a little bit in the duo as well. But here's the answer back from the Titans with everybody on the left side for the Gold Fury. The Scarabs, the Titans, can grab the Pyromancer, shoot that gold back down to about another 700 gold lead for themselves. But it really is just, it's kind of that pre-10-minute curse, isn't it, Mifflin, where you get all these kills, you get a lot going, but there's not really a ton on the map to kind of capitalize off of it.
Yeah, it feels like you could probably at least have gone to the Gold Fury, right? If you're the Tartarus Titans.
Right.
The Solar Scarabs could do it, and they did it from behind. I'm thinking, now with the game stagnating as it is, the Solar Scarabs start spending a little bit more time trying to close up that experience gap, which is actually starting to become significant. But the Tartarus Titans are suffering from success insofar as they have split their experience very evenly. They don't have one guy who's just like massive. Paul's got a 1-level lead. Largest lead in the game is about 1 level over their contemporaries. So, sure, 2,000 total, but maybe not so impressive.
Maybe a little bit more. Hurrywin finds the freeze, beats immediately by Paul. Hurrywin falling low. It'll be Layers to grab this one. Scary D gets caught, finds a massive stun, and then has the channel of the dash interrupted. Paul with his 6th kill of the game. Not even 12 minutes in. 9 total for the Tartarus Titans, but not much more for them to gain on the map. Everything is still down. Instead, just go for a Greater Scorpion invade.
Man, this is a performance we needed to see from Paul. He was the win condition in the first couple of phases for the Tartarus Titans. He was the win condition on the Pittsburgh Knights, but recently have been having a little bit more so of a quiet year. This is Paul back in form, man. A 6-0 start for him on a highly aggressive pick that is only going to continue to scale incredibly well. Phenomenal stuff from the Tartarus Titans mid laner. But double-edged sword. 6-0 means you're essentially a Gold Fury if you get killed. And Set being an all-in style of pick, I threw out my Clay Soldier. I jumped to it. I'm stuck here. A freeze, a stinger, maybe a powwow really could put a dampener on the aggression from the Tartarus Titans mid. Gotta play safe for now. All of a sudden, Paul is worth a whole lot.
Has the Transcendence and the Crusher picked up. Went back to base and picked up a shell for his second relic. Gives him more chance to dive through. And do you imagine for the starter item, because he actually went for the Warrior's Axe as his starter item, do you imagine that Paul is just going to end up selling this late game, not electing to upgrade instead, or do you think he full sends and gives it the upgrade?
I would probably upgrade it. A Heroic Axe is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
It just and it's going to help out a lot with what I was just talking about. You want an all-in, but you still want to deal damage? At least your starter item's giving you a little bit of survivability. So I imagine we see Paul finish that one up, but might not even get the opportunity with the breakneck pace this game's been going at. With the objectives spawning up in just over a couple of minutes here, could be the first POI on the map. I'd like to see the Tartarus Titans group up on the Gold Fury before the Pyromancer this time. They may not have the same level of burn or even confirmation that the Solar Scarabs have got, but they've got the lead and they've certainly got the fight potential. All you need to do is generate some sort of threat on the map that the Solar Scarabs have to respond to. And we've seen now that the Pyromancer is not that threat. The Solar Scarab's not concerned there. Primal Fury, that's it. That's your guy. Go there, force the Scarabs to step up, force them to fight you.
Scary D busy on the right side of the map with the Trebuchet. That's keeping the 2 solo laners busy. But Scary D's the only one of those 2 who has a teleport that will be up by the time that Gold Fury, or I should say the Primal Fury, has spawned itself back in. Aggressive play by the Titans, and again, another red buff invade. Another one successfully taken. Freeze onto a Roar is going to at least slow him down for a little bit. Dive in by Sam. An immediate 180 pivot from Sam. Something put the fear of God into him. He backed out.
Hey, he locked eyes with Stu and said, I would hate to get hit by a heart bomb here. And even realizing that had you continued to aggress on a Roar, wouldn't have got a whole lot done. That guy's very tanky already with the full stack Thieves. Stewart, slight 1v1, realizes probably just not in his best effort, or not in his best interest there. Backs up, heals up, and will continue to do so. Any fight that goes short should favor the Cupid.
Oh, another likely pick on Hurrywin. The wall blocks off his own path. It's Aurora who gets the credit for that one, but Paul and Layers show up yet again. They put the support down. Hurrywin 0-5 to start this game. Hasn't even been able to finish up that second item. It could be Yark in danger now. A slam by Layers, a root in place. The Whirlpool very late to come back out, but he'll get just far enough. Look at his health at the end. I thought he had more health when he went down.
Yeah, it looks like that skewer did connect, but a TKO is still a KO, at least in spirit, and so the Tartarus Titans will be able to pull out this Primal Fury. No response for the Solar Scarabs. They can go for the same trade the Titans did, but Pyromancer's not worth a whole lot, especially from behind, and going to be pretty difficult to do with SOT hovering in the wings. Seems like that's just going to be a clean win for the Tartarus Titans. Shot calling a lot more concise today as well. Seems as if they've got a much more solid grasp on how they're trying to approach that macro game. This has been phenomenal strides, even for what we've seen in what, a day's time, 2 days' time. The Tartarus Titans are growing quick.
Yeah, we don't really see that kind of hesitant style that we were seeing just even yesterday when we saw the Tartarus Titans. But they're not going to show up to this Pyromancer, at least not yet. Instead, maybe a pick on a Scary D. SOT on the way.
Watch Paul.
Dives in.
Oof.
Paul not able to get there in time, but maybe another kill onto the support is at least on the menu for the Titans. Ultimate by Hurrywin helps out, but he'll be slowed down. Maybe some pulls in by Sam. He jumps off the Powwow right into the clutches of Paul. Hurrywin's still alive, and Layers will dive in with his ultimate. Baronic, the first casualty. Hurrywin will go down next. It's going to be Solo, Urtrol, and Aurora to take him out, and Sam only squeaks by for a moment, but SOT spots him out, puts him down, and it's only Scary D left alive on the right side of the map. He'll get a blink, but how far Will that blink take him? Lots of damage out of Paula. Dive in under the tower. Stun will not slow down the Titans. They find 4.
The Tartarus Titans are on a tear. The Solar Scarabs try their best to try and pick up the Pyromancer, disengage. The call is sacrifice Hurrywin. I imagine that's the call, but it wasn't executed on. The Solar Scarabs try to step back up, send Sanford Soccer in for the damage. Scary D tries to peel out with a stun. Let Hurrywin die. My man's 0-6. He gave up 70 gold to whoever killed him. You got the Pyromancer, and if you live, you can at least defend the Fire Giant or make sure the Tartarus Titans don't attempt for it. If you die, you lose the Fire Giant, and that's exactly what happens again. The Tartarus Titans, their gold lead might not be extensive, but their map pressure, kill pressure, and now potential gold is so incredibly high. The Solar Scarabs got to figure out how they want to approach this defense, and spoiler alert, their defense not exactly the strongest. Honey's good at controlling space around these structures, but not having a standard AoE mage means that you're not going to be able to spread that damage very easily. And with plenty of sustain gods on the side of the Tartarus Titans, Stu with the hearts, SOT in combat once he descends into madness, it's going to be very difficult to stop the onslaught once it starts. The Titans can approach it in one of two ways. All-in engagement, which probably does go well for them. Their front line is that hard to deal with. Or they can go for the war of attrition. We went in, we poked your tower, we resustained it with Fire Giant and Cupid Hearts. We went in, we poked your tower. Oh, oops, it fell down this time. Rinse, repeat. The Solar Scarabs, their all-in engagement is good. It's just about finding that target. If Hurrywin can connect a freeze onto Paul or Stu, and then you're immediately followed up by a Stinger and a couple auto attacks from Yarkor, you'll likely kill him. Pretty unlikely you survive the engagement, though.
Still 60 seconds, though, until Paul's beads are back up. 30 seconds for layers. So 2 ideal targets, or at least one of them with Paul, ideal for Sam to maybe grab with that Pow-Lao. You kind of see Paul hovering between the 2 different lanes as to where he'll go. It seems that the Titans do not want to make a commit towards the left. The mid has no towers left either, so it's only Phoenixes left in those lanes. Meanwhile, Tier 1 and right still available. So for now, the Titans will rest on the fact that they've gotten a pretty nice gold lead up. Nearly 9,000 as we start climbing through with still 1 more tower to go. They'll take the gold in hand, about 1,500 plus for almost everybody on that team. They can just go ahead, strip the jungle, and head back to base and reset.
Yeah, finish up some of those items. You're starting to be able to upgrade those relics as well, which can be really, really useful as you start to move in towards these actual Phoenix Sieges. Significant power spike for Stu, Odysseus bow, so now he's able to keep some of the blinks on the side of the Solar Scarabs in check. Very difficult to channel a blink on defense against a team that has Odysseus bow. You want to position a little bit further up. Well, you just got hit by a charge. You can't blink anymore. So how is Scary D closing gap? Not safely. Not anymore. You need that teleport, that blink rather, to get into the back line of the Tartarus Titans. Same position for Sam for Soccer. Even more difficult for him. Are you really willing to use Trickster Spirit to close gap? If so, it's very telegraphed, and you will likely get burned immediately upon teleport. I think the Tartarus Titans, taking it slow from here, very smart decision. Whether or not they're actually willing to move in towards this right Phoenix, to be determined. Got eyes on the map. Not a whole lot of Scarabs there until just now.
1 minute left on Fire Giant buff, even less. Titans not willing to commit to a full siege. Instead, they've now taken all structures off the map, all the permanent ones at the very least. They'll allow that Trebuchet on the left side to push up because they can get ready to reset themselves for Fire Giant. Yarkor nearly gets caught out. Dash by SOT just to see maybe who's waiting on the other side of that wall with the Mire. Doesn't find anybody just yet. Aurora spots a few in the middle lane. The Tartarus Titans, with the last few seconds of their Fire Giant, can go ahead and take their final prize, maybe of that Fury, if they choose to head there, but they're kind of teetering between going for the Fury and maybe pushing this left lane.
Yeah, just figure out, if you find a pick, push left. Otherwise, pick up your Fury, head back to base, get ready for the Pyromancer and the Fire Giant. No pick to be had. No real opportunity to look at that left side Phoenix. Only Fury left standing?
Huh?
You know what? It is not often, I'll tell you I'm stumped, man, but I just could not tell you why they chose not to do it. Maybe they're waiting for the Fire Giant to become a little bit closer to spawning so that the threat of enhanced minion waves coincides with the actual buff itself, with the actual giant barreling down towards the earth. But had they just cleared it, they would have likely been able to get this Pyromancer as well. Yeah, I'm
So-
sticking with it. They're waiting for the Fire Giant to get closer to spawning, then they'll take it out.
Okay, so if they kill it quick enough for this next minion wave, it'll be good. But a minion wave now just spawned, so it's gonna have to be the next minion wave after. They are just
They're operating on a
confusing me.
level that we're not ready for. All right?
They're on some like 300 IQ play, and we're still sitting down here at the 100 waiting to figure out what's going on with Sam's health bar. Heart Bomb almost kills him on the top of the Palau, but he'll get out with just under 100 HP of his own. Blink stunned by Scary, beads away from SOT, and a stinger
peel.
from Baronic. Fields of Love used by Stewart to bail him out. SOT lives, but it costs the Titans just a little bit to do so.
Yeah, Stewart losing the beads is pretty major. SOT losing the beads as well. Not as major, but still a pretty big deal. Palau now has some pretty decent targets. If the Solar Scarabs try and group up around that fire, seems as if they've got eyes for the Tier 2 tower. Tartarus Titans rotating in response. They'll get there too late to defend. Fire Giant should go down, but it'll be slow with just the 2 from the Titans on the right-hand side.
Paul's here, Kingslayer active, teleport in, and Yarkor is completely gone. Scary Deep slowly
Another one?
being chipped away by the set, and Paul with about 12 spawns that was nearby just evaporates the solo laner. And there are now only 3 left standing for the Scarabs. The Fire Giant goes to all 5 of the Titans, and now a full push by the Titans to the left side of the map, while the other 2 are pushing up on the right. Baronic only gets out because the honey is at his feet.
Hurry, don't get spotted. Paul locks eyes, should be able to stop that back. Need to play safe here. It's a 2v1.
Beads are down for Paul. Shell is used in a 3v1. Paul does not win in those odds. Instead, Aurora will pick up Sam. Palau used, but Layers has gotten the cleanup kill on Baronic. Can he find the cleanup kill? On to Hurrywin, a dash in by Stewart. And Hurrywin throws up a wall, finds the freeze on 2. And that will keep him alive for a little while longer. Layers will back away. Right side Phoenix also taken during all of that.
Yeah, Paul fueling himself just a little too much in that fight. Does fall down, but at least create some space for his team beforehand. Tartarus Titans pepper some damage into that mid-Phoenix. Aren't able to take it down. Scary D respawn a bit too quick.
SOT, no beads, no ult. Should go down in the middle of all 4. Will. And a Field to Love a little bit too late. Chase on by Yarkor, but with Aurora slowing them down, should be the end. But Sam is going to go in, finds damage on the Layers, but
Yikes.
eats a lot more than he was willing to. And instead, it'll now be a retreat by the Solar Scarabs.
So the Titans take out the right side bird, maintain Fire Giant on 3. And one of those 3 is your ADC, so pretty significant. Should have an easier time looking at birds once SOT respawns. I'd argue still a pretty clean win for the Tartarus Titans. Well played by the Solar Scarabs. Well played by Hurrywind in particular. I thought he was dead to rights with that wall to separate the fight and get the double freeze through it. Does buy his team enough time to get active. So the Solar Scarabs showing some signs of life, but probably a little too late, I'd argue. 10K down, 25 minutes in.
Fury still down for a little while as well, so nothing for the Titans to gain in the jungle at the least. But left side Phoenix could be the target. Fire Giant still on Stewart, who is the most valuable one to keep that buff on. Just because of his extra damage, he'll be able to deal out and deal with those Phoenixes. But it doesn't seem that the Titans are willing to push anymore. It appears that just the one right side Phoenix, maybe a couple of minion waves pushed up, will be all the Titans can get with this Fire Giant. So now as we reset and get ready for the next potential siege, the next Fire Giant fight, the Solar Scarabs down 10,000, and where's the player that they try and find their pick to get themselves back in this fight?
Whew. Solar Scarabs can't be choosy, you know what I mean?
So anybody, basically.
Yeah, if there is a pick, they want it, all right? Whether or not you could say, yeah, let's aim for Stu. Good luck finding Stu. Let's aim for Paul. Maybe you could bait him like you did last time, but I'm certain that Paul has learned his lesson. It is whoever is standing in front of you, and if you're the Solar Scarabs, hopefully they're standing in front of you alone, right? That's the pick they're looking for.
Paul to the right side. Along with Layers, they're separating from the 3 core, the double front line, and the Hunter Stewart. Maybe going for the assassin flank over towards this middle Phoenix. Honey will slow things down in mid. Scary D spots out Layers, but Layers is doing just fine on this Robin. He'll fight right back and deal quite a bit to Scary D. Root in place, And a root onto Baronic, a pull back by Aurora. And the sparks are now flying in mid. Baronic is gone before the fight can even really break out. SOT low is able to get out for only a moment, but a TP in by Sam, a dunk down by Layers. Mid Phoenix gone, Pow Lao up. Layers not gonna get yanked back in. Now 4 for 4, and Paul goes in, finds some big damage to start this off. Layers finds the second kill. Scary D makes it back to the fountain, and Paul still going. Those minions flying across the throne room, but the Titan is low, and the Tartarus Titans only need a little more damage, but Yarkor is keeping them back out. He will go down. It's a double for Stewart. Yarkor grabs one, but the Titans will end the game.
Not the prettiest end, but an end nonetheless. The Tartarus Titans make it happen in a very, very quick fashion. That was Blitzkrieg. And it seems to be the answer that these teams that have lost primary shot callers recently have found. The Olympus Bolts do it quickly in the previous set. We got our leads and we got it fast and we ran with it. The Tartarus Titans do it here. Look, if you're struggling to adapt in a situation, a phase 3 situation, where you have to completely change your identity, go for the easiest route. And the easiest route is run them down and use your mechanics.
And I think you were kind of right to touch on Paul, because it felt like in the last set, Paul really never got active throughout the game, was never really going in with Aurora. If Aurora called go, Paul was like, This time it felt like it was Paul calling the shot saying, guys, go in. I'm ready to fight. I mean, this man was 5-0 by 8 minutes. And if you're the Scarabs or if you're any team, that's not a position you want to be in.
No, Paul was active all the way across the map. And that's all I ask for when I see these assassins in mid. Utilize the mobility that is inherent to the assassin class and get active everywhere. Paul was getting involved in the soul lane. He was rotating for purple buff invades, and he was leveraging his lead very, very well.
A fast and dominant game number 1 by the Titans. Can they keep up the pace, or can the Solar Scarabs slow them down? We'll find out in game number 2 right after this.
Solo un rayo del sol cambia el tiempo en el reloj. Hoy mis deudas reciben perdón. Pago por el show. Me siento feliz porque si no soy yo, pues quién. Todos caen a mi lado. El freno lo arranqué. Me siento feliz porque yo no dudo mi power. De mí ya se acabó. Trata de festejar, celebramos el bienestar. Tantas estrellas brillan, quiero un carro que corra más. Nada me rompe, no, no, nada me rompe. Trata de festejar, celebramos el bienestar. Tantas estrellas brillan, y Marte me espera mientras rodea. Nada me rompe, no, no, nada me rompe. Tantas estrellas brillan, quiero un carro que corra más. Traigo un fin y después fumo un cabo del cigarette. Me pierdo en la ciudad. Ha llegado mi tiempo ya. Voy a vivir porque si yo no soy yo, pues quién. Todos caen a mi lado. Los menos los arranqué. Me siento feliz porque vivo mi vida centrado. Te burlaste de mí, ya se acabó. Trata de festejar, celebramos el bienestar. Tantas estrellas brillan, quiero un carro que corra más. Nada me rompe, no, no, nada me rompe. Trata de festejar, celebramos el bienestar. Tantas estrellas brillan, y Marte me espera mientras rodea. Nada me rompe, no, no, nada me rompe. estrellas brillan, quiero un carro que corra más. A veces yo soy yo, yo voy a ser otro yo. A veces yo soy yo, yo voy a ser otro yo. Los frenos los arranqué, el riesgo me cae bien. Los frenos los arranqué, el riesgo me cae bien. A veces yo soy yo voy a ser otro yo. A veces yo soy yo voy a ser otro yo. Los frenos los arranqué, el riesgo me cae bien. Los frenos los arranqué, el riesgo me cae bien. Trata de festejar, celebramos el bienestar. Tantas estrellas brillan, quiero un carro que corra más. Nada me rompe, no, no, nada me rompe. Trata de festejar, celebramos el bienestar. Tantas estrellas brillan, mi parte me espera mientras rodea. Nada me rompe, no, no, nada me rompe.
Well, in a very convincing game number 1, the Titans are able to.
The web's
The web.
blocking the web.
Yeah, we got some mad spiders in here, bro. The Titans take game number 1 there in a very convincing fashion. And Trelly, outside of the spiders, absolutely covering the set, the Titans kept the. I don't know how to make that.
After
something-
the spider webs covered the set,
Yeah.
Paul on
Paul
the set,
on set.
covered the map
There
and
we
got
go.
lots of kills. Boom.
Boom. Nailed
Stamp it.
And
Send it.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks. Yeah, no, it was one of those things. Like we were even talking about it just now, and it was like you went like, wait, what was Stewart playing? And it's like not that he didn't do anything, but that it's like, well, it was kind of the set, right? That
Yeah.
1-2 punch, that early aggression between the set, the Raven, definitely paid off for him. And I mean, the Titans, they have a couple of falters. Paul. And a very outrageous 1v3 towards the end is the first death for the game for him. But other than that, just a lot of control on their side.
Yeah, I would say so. It seemed like Paul was getting active not only in the mid lane, as you would expect your mid laner to do so, but was making these early rotations over 3-0 at 5 minutes, going over to duo lane, and then sort of repeating that process. Another thing, it seemed like Aurora was hunting Hurrywin. Like Hurrywin was like 0-6 at this point in the game, and it just did not stop. Aurora was able to just pick him up, throw him back into the team, and then continue to do so. I think Aurora's play this whole game was pretty top tier as well on the Atlas, a pick that he likes a lot. And the other thing was, it seemed like the Scarabs were putting a lot of pressure towards solo. SOT did not have a fun early game, right? He didn't get blue buff very often at all. The kills aren't going to show much, but I just mean farm-wise, it seemed like just ignore solo lane for the Titans and just put all your pressure into pretty much everyone else. 1-0-6 for Stewart here at the end. Probably gets one more kill in the process, but this is what we're talking about. Like, Paul seemed to be just all over the map, using his influence throughout, and the rest of the team just got the benefits of that.
Sometimes that's all it takes for them. Unfortunately for the Scarabs, not the way you wanted to go. We've had this discussion about it, and I think it's worth mentioning because Hurry had tweeted it out. But sometimes you have a Ymir game where you're the reason your team wins, and then sometimes you have those, right? It goes back and forth. It happens to everybody in the league. And so that's how you know he's truly back in the SBL,
Yeah.
that he's feeling that way. The big question is going to be the adaptation the Scarabs will end up making through that one, because there's a lot of things even beyond that I think went out of their control. And so it's going to be draft talk. It's going to be play on field, I think maybe the most, and trying to stifle the Titans down to make sure that they maybe don't get the same 1-2 punch they had early.
I mean, that's the scary part, though, because they banned Hell, they banned the Morgan. You going to just triple ban Paul and go for the set in that mix,
Yeah.
or are you going to let one of those through? I'm not sure. I think the set, probably something that needs to be dealt with, whether that's build-wise or just not letting it play through at all. But we'll have to see what they decide to do.
I'm excited to watch this one, and I will say this. It's also a caveat for some things I was uttering earlier, which is Scarabs have never beat the Titans, and I will put the asterisk on this one. I meant to earlier, and I completely forgot, but it is only regular season that this one's keeping track of. Although I think that one stays true in postseason stuff as well. I mean, if you take Masters this year, they got eliminated twice in a row. Roll back to Worlds, they got eliminated by the Titans as well there. So definitely something to keep track of for the Scarabs. Maybe time to try and turn things around. Not a very happy looking Scary D there.
There it is.
And
They
then
went
it is
3D.
the triple, Paul, Ban, the Hell, the Morgan,
Are we back in the Smite
and the
Paul League?
set. We're in the Smite Paul League. It's his world. And unfortunately, they're playing in it. We get to watch, so we're safe.
Yeah,
for a
we're,
little
we're
bit.
safe. We don't have to deal with the set, and luckily the Scarabs don't have to either, because they did decide to triple ban the mid laner of the Tartarus Titans. It does leave open a few things, notably the Kabrakan could be something the Solar Scarabs are able to grab in that slot. We'll have to see. Not going to be banned away, so the Kabrakan could be the call here. It's going to be Hades, Sanford Soccer's Thor, and then the Yamoja. I'm curious to see if it's going to be, wow, just going to go for the Cupid there. That leaves AMC and Kabrakan open. That's a little scary, because I guess the Scarabs in this spot are saying we can grab the Ymir or the Kabrakan, or I guess the Atlas. We don't really mind. But the AMC is something that I did not expect the Solar Scarabs to want to give up. And, you know, I imagine with how well Paul has been playing, yeah, I don't think he would mind the AMC too much. We'll have to see what they decide to go for.
It is interesting. Yesterday, they ended up losing game number 1 versus the Valk. Second game that they won, though, from first pick, they picked the Cupid first and foremost, then as well. Helped turn that set around after a pretty convincing game 1. Or at least a maybe not pretty convincing, but a solid game 1 from the Valks yesterday. This one was super convincing. I wish I could hear them so badly. I have no idea. Maybe
I think he's saying, chin up, boys. We got this. You know, hyping everyone up.
talking it up,
Yeah, giving some back pats. You know, just trying to get the vibes up. I imagine.
getting the
That's
blood
what-
flowing as
Yeah, that too. I think just trying to hype up the squad in this case. Wow, the Kepri actually going to be the call. Not worried about the Kabrakan, the Ymir, none of those picks, or the Atlas. Just going to be grab the AMC and the Kepri. Some extra safety there for Paul in the mid lane, on top of just a pick that Aurora has really liked for quite some time. Now back for the Solar Scarabs. I'm kind of curious here. Which one of these Guardians that's available does Hurrywin value the most? Because you can't ban them all out, right? It's just there's just too many. Like the Kabrakan, the Ymir, and the Atlas are all available. So maybe the Solar Scarabs call is to just leave them all open and then not pick either, or maybe just get Hurrywin on something that's comfortable. That 1-2 punch you were talking about. Throw any pressure Guardian with a Cupid, and you're probably going to be sitting just fine in lane.
That's going to be the goal here for the Scarabs. As you mentioned, the AMC, the Kepri, locked in there by the Titans. Last time around, if you're looking towards the Scarabs, towards the top, alongside their mid laner, they had picked up a jungler and a support. So wouldn't be surprised if maybe they throw a pick towards Sam. They could probably wait on that a little bit as well. Kabrakan, something we've seen Hurry play several times while he was playing with the Tanuki. Always looks good there. And the Charybdis, when it's alongside the Cupid, this feels like a Baronic pick.
Yeah, I think I would say so. You know, last game we saw the AMC and the Charybdis. We weren't exactly sure, but AMC never gets played in duo, so that pretty much locks it in now. Of course, Cupid doesn't really get played in the mid lane, so Baronic probably taking that one up against the AMC in this case. But the Kabrakan gonna make AMC's life pretty miserable, as long as I'm assuming it's Hurrywin taking it into support. It also could be over in that solo lane. We are still seeing plenty of Guardians played over in that role as well, so I guess we can hold on to the ambiguity of that pick for a little bit. But what do the Titans want to grab here before the next wave of bans? So historically, it's not going to be a jungler, right? Layers is
Yeah.
pretty fine to just wait until that 10th pick slot. Possibly something safe for Stewart. We know he loves the Heimdall. Going to have a decent matchup up into the Cupid, but are you looking for something to box with? We know Stewart also likes those magical ADCs. Not going to be the best time for them. Really only Freya getting played at the moment, but that could be something they're looking to grab here as well before that next wave of bans comes through.
Now, my mind is blinking, Trelly.
Okay.
Is there an assassin or someone that you would play in the jungle that starts with a C? They've got Cupid, Cabrakan, Charybdis. If they added like a Cucullin and something.
I feel like
Are we running out of sea gods?
there is, but I can't like
And
think
not
of
like
it.
water gods, but like with the letter C. Okay, if they can factor in someone like Chang'e, as Billy suggests there. Although
Camazotz!
actually, well, Camazotz. Oh yeah,
It
hey,
took me a bit.
there we
I
go.
knew it was there. It took me a bit. I'm sorry. I found it.
Not only did you find it, but gotta give the throwback to DJ Pernicus, who liked to play Chang'e jungle.
Chang'e
way,
and
way
Guan
back
Yu
in-
jungle.
in the
Those
day.
were great adventures that he used to
'cause
go
that was
for.
one that Billy just unlocked a memory I didn't realize I had. Was still in my mind with those. You had mentioned what could they lock in, and you had talked about Stewart picks. They grabbed the Medusa over there to throw that way to the duo lane. Hunbat's Daji banned out by the Titans in the follow-up. Cthulhu and Lancelot
Wow.
banned away with the Erlong Shin locked in.
They're just, I think all of these SPL junglers just don't want to let Erlong die, man. They really, really want to try and get some extra value
Kleena
out of this
as
pick.
well.
Kleena, yep, that could have been another
So
one.
if they lock in Cabrakan, Camazotz, Kleena, or they already got Cabrakan.
They could get
Cucullin.
Kama and Kleena right here.
Yeah, it could be easy. Look, stick with the C's.
You think that would give their team synergy a bit of an edge?
No, but it'd be fun.
Okay, and that's all we're really caring about. You
This
guys,
is. I want you to. I want to be clear. This has transcended any SBL analysis. It is purely for my enjoyment.
I wonder if your stat sheet could tell us how many times it's ever happened where it was all the same letter, or if has ever happened.
Not without a lot of work.
Unlucky.
Actually, maybe with not a lot of work, but more brain power.
Okay, well maybe we'll figure that out.
It's either brute strength or brain power, and I don't know if I want to do either.
At this point, you might be able to figure it out before the Solar Scarabs decide what they're going to grab in this spot. Maybe they were just stumped as we were, by looking at that Erlong Shen. Because the Daji and the Hunbats have been taken away, as well as, I was going to say the Thor, a Thanatos hover for
Yeah.
Sanford Soccer. That would be an exciting pick for sure. And it's going to be snap locked here. Up against the Kepri, going to have a great interaction with the Execute. You know, is making
Yeah.
sure to try and shut down that Scarab's Blessing. And because we see the Terra, I'm hoping that means Scary D's taking the Cabrakan into solo lane. I want to see the Hades build on Cabrakan. Like, I want full damage Cabrakan solo off the back of another Thanatos. Like, that's going to be some crazy late game damage.
And fun little known fact, but both Thanatos and Terra actually have a silent C at the beginning. So they stick with their guns on that one. Also, Sam on Thanatos, and this one's an actual stat, and for real words. Last time there was a triple-double, 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now, but it was Sam on Thanatos in Season 7. Not saying I want to manifest another one, but that would be fun to watch.
I
Tyr
do.
gets locked in for the Titans. And this is going to be a fun one. Lots of CC, lots of engage on the Titans, and like you said, lots of fun counterplay potential for the Scarabs. Plus the Cabrakan, going back to where he found some roots early on in his release, which is over into the solo lane.
Well, he doesn't have any roots, though. He's got stuns.
Yeah, going back to the stuns of his release sounds just as good.
I also think that the tier is going to be a pretty good matchup into the Cabrakan, because as a Cabrakan, you want Blink, you want to get aggressive, you get Teleport maybe if you're
Yeah.
concerned about the farm, but you're sort of forced into either grabbing beats early or putting yourself in a position to get camped by the Tier and the Erlong Shen. So if it is, again, Cabrakan. We haven't seen Terra in the solo lane in quite some time, but there is some bit of flexibility there. I'm assuming still it'll be scary on the Cabrakan. You got to make sure you're getting those beats, or else probably getting camped in that lane just because there's so much CC that the Tartarus Titans have decided to draft here.
And I'm excited to see what it can do. I mean, Fearless, like you said, potentially going to be able to get a lot. Charybdis at least has some safety mechanisms from that. So in the team fight, there's at least one person that's going to be dealing with that pretty well, as well as maybe some knock-up immunity from the Terra, kind of helpful with that tier. Otherwise, could be dangerous for the Scarabs. A lot of fun, Trelly, though, if you're looking at the game pace, right? When specifically from the Titans, very early game oriented last time. They tried that twice yesterday, and it didn't quite work against the Warriors. How do you feel they're going to approach this one?
Well, I'm looking at Thanatos, right? That's for me the make or break in any draft. Whenever Thanatos is there, is like, okay, is he gonna pop off early and just win his team the game, or is he gonna get first blooded and unfortunately just start off to a bad time? Because there's a Khepri, I think the Thanatos is a little bit more superpowered in the sense of, yeah, you don't have to be online to execute. If you get someone low enough, you can still cancel out that Scarab's blessing, and it's going to be a good time. But it's Sam for soccer on the Thanatos, you know. He's been playing this pick for a while. I imagine he'll be just fine.
Well, we'll have to find out. Can the Scarabs fight their way back into this set and take it 1-1, or will the Titans close it out 2-0? We'll find out in game number 2 with J-Mac and Mifflin.
Yeah, thank you so much. Seeing Sam go back on the Thanatos, always a treat. Not only are we going to see this god, but this player-god combination in the SPL. Sam has had a good history. We'll see if he can use that to leverage a win for the Scarabs in game number 2, because they need it if they want to keep it alive in this set and find themselves their second win of the phase, or will the Tartarus Titans be able to walk away with this one? Mifflin, it's double Hunter composition on both sides. Charybdis Cupid versus AMC and Medusa. We haven't seen much Medusa in the SPL, mostly in the hands of Wowie. Kind of give me your thoughts on the Medusa in this matchup.
I mean, it's a fight god and a fight meta, so surprised that we haven't seen as much of her. I have to imagine that maybe itemization doesn't fit her style nearly as well as maybe it used to. Feels like when crit's good, Medusa's real good just by nature of Viper Shot, getting those 3 auto attacks out real fast, because we're in a more consistent TPS meta. Gods that can apply that damage a little bit more evenly, I think, find a bit more value. So maybe that's why we see her a little bit less often than I'm considering, but certainly still a pick that can control the neutral farm, control the contestables, get that scepter, and from there, I mean, your work's made out for you. You've got scepter, you've got the advantage.
Well, Yarkor will get all the solo farm, as we've been seeing a lot from our supports here, by going up and just kind of being a nuisance, mostly to the enemy team, allowing Yarkor to be able to hit that level 2 off of just 1 to 2 minions inside that wave. So Stuart and Aurora, though, will get the early pressure for themselves. They'll be able to have that early wave and kind of push the Scares back just a little bit here. But Herwin, once level 3 really comes online, that's really kind of the point where it feels like Terra starts doing real well. Bead's gone from Scary D. Power cleave in. Push after still needed from that blue stance. Fearless double stun by
silenced?
Scary D. Will stop through. There's the dash now. May have been silenced. Switched over again for another double push. And a lot of aggression in the solo lane side.
Gotta think SOT either had it initially silenced out or maybe just holds on to it a little bit longer than I would have thought. That defense stance fearless. Sure, it's not the most CC on the planet, but any portion of CC that can keep your enemies close to you, great for an Erlong Shed.
Dash in by Stewart, but perfect wall by Hurrywin. Stops both Aurora and Stewart in their tracks. Heart Bomb hits Aurora. He'll take it away from the wave. Yarkor and Hurrywin pushed under tower. While pressure is put on Paul and the AMC. I was keeping my eyes on Layers' health bars. He's trying to fight that mid cap.
Coward.
Would have probably died had he stuck around and Sam able to connect that site.
Yeah, Sam, by nature of being Thanatos, if somebody is low on the map, he knows about it. So Layers probably mostly worried about that. He wins the fight against the Harpy, but he knows that Sam knows. And if Sam ticks over to level 3, Sense of Death would have allowed him to close that gap pretty easily. So Layers decides not to go for the risky play. Instead, resets the camp and himself in one fell swoop. Should allow a bit more farm to go the way of the Solar Scarabs. Sticky situation for Aurora here. Fortunately, Heart Bomb connects with Stewart, so Aurora should be able to make his way out with relative ease.
Another double stun there by Hurrywin. Again, off the aggressive play
like
by
the fourth
Stewart.
one.
He keeps doing it, and SOT keeps doing this.
What?
Doesn't secure the blue somehow through all of that. Now stuck in the Tremors, silence. Tremors almost
Tragic.
take him down, and now the Layers is there to stop the minions from going for SOT. He'll be able to live. Close calls for 2 different occasions now for the Titans.
That was Mannequin Scepter burn that confirms the blue buff for Sanford Soccer. And let me tell you how unfortunate that is for SOT.
It's very.
Thanatos gets heals for last standing minions, and you only get the heal for mannequins when burn confirms it. Which means my dude healed a whole lot right there. Had it not been last hit, by Sanford Soccer, or had it only been last hit by like an ability rather than the burn, I'm pretty sure SOT's got first blood on his hands. Instead, literally the stars align and Sanford Soccer makes it out of there alive.
We're going to see how this continues to develop. Again, how does it why do they just keep standing next to it? They're holding hands everywhere they go for that duo lane, and Hurrywin keeps finding double stuns. That one doesn't amount to really anything there. It's not like there was a major follow-up, you know, not a Fields of Love yet. But if Hurrywin keeps doing this, man, I'm fearing for the Tartarus Titans.
Yeah, you know, the power of friendship, I'm sure, is what keeps Aurora and Stewart connected at the hip, and so far hasn't punished them just yet. Got to give credit to Hurrywin, though. It's not easy to connect it all the time, and he's done so very, very well as of now. I'm excited for these supports to start rotating out of lane, though. I'm ready for the Hunter 1v1s. I'm ready to see how that starts to pan out. And Hurrywin is integral to the mid 3v3. The lockdown that Atera provides you, especially against a pick like AMC, can be so detrimental. So I got to imagine that Hurrywin has really just got his eyes on that level 5 mark so that he can get out and get active elsewhere on the map. Sanford Soccer, though, seems to have eyes for the duo lane. Hovering Death is available, but doesn't seem like he's going to use it. Instead, Purple Buff Invade may be in the cards.
Fields of Love available too. Dropped on top of just Aurora. Dunk in by Sam. The scythe not even needed. It's the final auto attack that deals the killing blow. Solar Scarabs start the game with first blood.
Are they going to go for the Purple Buff Invade, though? They have to, with Blue Buff being invaded on the other side. So, yes, Stewart shouldn't be able to defend this one on his own, and Baronic has got eyes on Paul, so low-risk play here from the Solar Scarabs. Maybe even a red buff to boot, so long as we can keep eyes on Paul in mid. Sanford Soccer and Hurrywin combine for it. Paul on the way back to base, so a clean win to the Solar Scarabs. Tartarus Titans steal the blue buff on the other side, should be able to pick up that Greater Scorpion as well, so a little bit of global golden experience for the team. Keeping it closer to even than it might appear. Really the only thing separating these two squads as of now is that first blood bounty.
Sam rotating over. Aurora's still not level 5 yet, so no Scarab's Blessing available to the Khepri until just now when he finally takes over. Greater Scorpion invade, started up, double root by Aurora, but he will not get the confirmation on that one. Instead, pulls Sam back, forces the ult out. That'll allow Sam to go a very long distance. Instead, it's SOT now bullying Baronic at the bottom side of the fight, rooted out by Hurrywin, but SOT still going. Ultimate up and ultimate in. Cannot get the Fearless because the ult from Baronic will give him the CC immunity and the movement speed to get out.
Yeah, good luck committing onto a Charybdis, especially this early in the game. It's just way too much immunity available to that character. The third ability, the ultimate, the beads, they worked through all of it. They got every single bit of it, so a little bit less available to Baronic on the next rotation of aggression. But it's the Solar Scarabs who have maintained their lead. We got to look at the charts for a second there. The Tartarus Titans, I think, have done a phenomenal job of just cutting it at every single one of these turns, man. The buff trades have been really good for the Titans. The neutral objective trades have been really good for the Titans. Really only the Scorpions falling down for now. But look at the map. Look at how the Solar Scarabs have developed their vision. It is all very deep wards. Solar Scarabs want to get aggressive. They've got a great draft for it. Keep your eyes on Sam and keep your eyes on Baronic. Those two have got so much damage when they're playing together.
Fight over the mid camps goes to the Solar Scarabs. Aurora and Paul not willing to commit to it just yet. And Sanford Soccer hovering around this left side of the jungle, wants to find a pick. Maybe onto Stewart. Catches Medusa off guard. But both beads are up for the two carries, these two hunters between Paul and Stu. Haven't really had too much beads pressure put on them just yet. Maybe now gank onto Yarkor instead. Root hits, but not much follow-up beyond there. Stewart's about a half level down to Yarkor, even on the wave to wave. Actually, Stewart doesn't even hit 8 on that wave, so maybe a full level back behind his opposition.
It's a stacked wave that Yarkor is allowing to go into that tower. Just wants to make sure that purple buff farm is confirmed. Should be able to get that experience in lane as well. Only missing out on 2 minions, I believe. But you're right, Stewart not in a great position as of right now. Aurora soaked up a lot of the farm on that duo side of the map, whereas Hurrywin, once he left the lane, he's kind of not gone back. Reflected in the stacks, though, Hurrywin hovering mid or hovering the jungle a little bit more often. 10 stack difference between him and Aurora. So the Khepri, who's already incredibly difficult to kill, even more difficult with meditation, even more difficult with that death immunity, has also got a bit more defense to play with at that. Solar Scarabs have been trying to get aggressive everywhere on the map, just haven't had that opportunity. And Stu,
Some patience.
yeah, very patient play. Would have thought he'd at least trade the Petrify for the CC immunity, but realizing he's inside his own tower, it's not really potential for Yarkor to dive. Gets that ultimate off of him and maintains his own strength.
Keeps the beads. Keeps the ult. Has that scepter. But once again, Aurora rotates over and soaks up farm. And Stu just hit level 8 off the 3 archers that were pushing in a moment ago and then had to split yet another wave. It's got to be at least a level and a half that Yarkor has over him. Aurora's eventually going to have to let Stewart just kind of deal with himself there. I mean, we already saw that Yarkor would rotate out of lane at that point. Now Aurora will make his way back over towards mid. Maybe soak some from Paul. I mean, Paul's got about a level up over his opposition, but do you want Paul to be the one getting the primary brunt of the farm? I mean, if he was playing the set like last game, I'd say more power to him, but on this AMC, is it really necessary to give him all of this solo farm?
Yeah, I think an AMC with a lead feels pretty good, right? You want Stinger and Swarm of Bees to kill somebody, not just weaken them. Tartarus Titans.
That's a new one.
Yeah, haven't seen that in a long time. That's a 2012 play, just running circles around that Gold Fury. Little DPS check. Don't exactly like what they see, so the Tartarus Titans reset themselves. The Solar Scarabs seem to be going for a very similar play as in the previous match. This time around, the Pyromancer 4 stacked on the right-hand side, as opposed to the 3 from the Titans on the left.
SOT there, Yarkor pin. Should go down. Petrify deals the killing blow.
Is he
SOT
Deathwalkering?
goes into the middle of 4. Can he find the power cleave he needs? No,
Oof.
instead, blocked by yet another wall. SOT should go down. The execute just in time to find the kill. A second one. Now for the jungler of the Solar Scarabs, for the Tartarus Titans, their response is to go to Gold Fury. Paul is nearby to try and slow down this Pyromancer, to try and be a nuisance. But it'll be an objective for objective and a kill for a kill.
I was willing the Deathwalker into existence right there. You
were
see the
waiting.
4-man dunk. He lines it up. Just get that Fearless immediately afterward. Not quite the case.
Ooh.
Fight not looking so good here.
Stinger does connect onto Baronic. He'll be able to get back under the tower, but has Hurry Wind step too far forward, throws up the walls.
Living.
Paul throws out the swarm just off the mark, but now here comes Sam. Here comes Yarkor. Fields of Love, and then it's Scarab's blessing in response. Aurora will go down and trade. No,
sure?
he will not. The dash comes back off a cooldown, and the support and the mid both live through.
Target selection perfect from the Solar Scarabs there. Put enough threat onto Paul that you're forced to use the Scarab's blessing. All right, well, I'm not chasing him now. Dude's slow immune and death immune. Peel back onto Aurora, but that meditation, the abduct come up just in time, and Aurora able to work his way out of there. Tartarus Titans from the brink able to survive that exchange. And it looked really, really good. The rotation from Yarkor, the timing from Sanford Soccer. Just about any other composition likely would have at least had one death there, but Capri so valuable for that exact reason. Aurora keeps the team alive.
This is not the usual build path that we see out of tiers. I mean, we might have to wait on that for just a moment with layers rotation in, but typically we've been seeing the Manticore spike and the Glad Shield, then we kind of see the push into the Wingblade tree. But it's a Blackthorn Hammer immediately into Wingblade. This one's throwing me off a little bit, Miff.
Well, Manicore Spike, I think you pick it up if you really need damage, right? But looking at the comp from the Solar Scarabs and how it's constructed, it's a whole lot of squishies. I think SOT getting movement speed early is big.
Ooh, big Petrify from Stu. Stuns 2, slows down a third. And with that one ultimate, has effectively stunted everything. SOT, Lawbringer to get out of the towers. Scary D had locked down one of his escape paths. And the Tartarus Titans are all able to make it out. Both sides of the map, control went to the Scarabs, except for in the mid lane, where the Trebuchet pushed down Tier 1 tower.
Takes down the Tier 1, left side Tier 1, also very weak on the side of the Solar Scarabs. But that mid tower is probably the most valuable Tier 1 on the map. Just the ability to have a bastion of safety, regardless of which neutral objective you decide to move towards, is incredibly valuable. Now if the Solar Scarabs move towards Pyro or Gold Fury, they haven't really got anywhere to run if the fight goes south.
Silence is down by Sam Fearless after the taunt back in. And SOT finds the pick on the jungle. Hurrywind is here, throws down the root, but Scary D is just tremoring in place. The stun's not enough because the Stinger is there. And the maul off the mark by Baronic. Solo Troll holds on, finds one. Paul's rotation nets him an extra.
Yeah, SOT got a lot of value there. The auto attack from Hurrywind actually made SOT a lot faster. Terra essentially getting the Frostbound passive when she's got the Monolith out, hits SOT. SOT becomes a little bit quicker thanks to Wingblade, and I think that may have been enough to reposition him out of the Maw. I could be extending myself. That might be a little bit too cerebral, but that's what it looked like to me. And if that's the case, super unfortunate for Baronic, because that likely would have resulted in a reset. SOT was so low. Getting 2 shots of the Maw would have been massive.
Unfortunate for Baronic. Doesn't get that hit. Does not get the reset. And it's now the Tartarus Titans with a 3,000 gold lead out of nowhere. I mean, earlier on, it was sitting dead even. You can see all the way up until about 12 and a half minutes, and then huge spike down for the Titans. Being able to pick up that Gold Fury on one side of the map, now picking up a couple of kills on the right side. And all of a sudden, the Solar Scarabs, all that momentum they had for their lead seems to have just been halted, if only for another moment. And if we keep looking at that XP difference, Paul continues to climb up over Baronic.
And look at the itemization from the Solar Scarabs as well. Not only are they getting halted on the map and play on field, but Book of Thoth for Scary D, going to take a little while to stack up. You're just now starting to finish up Executioner, but Baronic doesn't really become powerful until those kin size, those item effects start to come into play thanks to Charybdis' auto chain. So this is an opportunity not only for the Tartarus Titans in that they've got the lead, but also some significant power spikes have been hit by them.
Layers gets stopped immediately, does manage to break down the walls that Scary D had thrown up. And that's 2 ultimates to get Layers' beads away. Didn't even get a chance to get the 9 turns blessing, had the beads out right away. And that allows the jungler to live through. SOT level 14. Now 3rd item in, a Witchblade for himself to slow down some of his auto attack from 3 different members on the Solar Scarabs roster.
Yeah, I love how SOT is playing this 1v1. Realizes Scary D's got a lot of sustain, but only if he's allowed to channel Tremor on wave. Holds on to all of that CC until he's got the opportunity to cancel it. Pyromancer pulled out. SOT on the way in. No way he gets there in time.
Nah, looked like he wanted to blink, but Tremor from Scary D locked him in. Now it's SOT against 4. Lawbringer over the wall, waiting for his chance to heal up. Jukes out 1 stun. Beads is the second portion of it. And SOT just biding his time, finds a double Fearless, avoids the execute, and now
No
Layers
way.
is here to slow it down. The Maw, not enough damage. SOT makes it out of the clutches of 4 Solar Scarabs. And all the while, the Tartarus Titans take a Primal Fury on the left side.
Sam for Soccer's got eyes, blinks the Scythe! That is absolutely insane! SOT is mechanics dipping the entirety of the Solar Scarabs. Try again, chump, says the Soul Later of the Tartarus Titans. This kid is wild. That is why I have been spewing non-stop that he just presses buttons better than literally everybody else. I guess it's just going to happen when you play 12 hours a day, every single day, but that is absolutely ridiculous. He stripped every single resource from the Solar Scarabs, survives, buys time for the objective on the other side. Yikes, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing for the Solar Scarabs that SOT lives there.
I mean, look at the relics on the side of the Scarabs. It's a Beads, a Blink, a Beads, and a Blink. Those 4 he did essentially by himself. It wasn't until Layers came by.
That's not even counting the ults.
At the end of the fight to throw a single pin to stop 1 person. And then ends up getting the blink out from there. Stops that one. SOT. Insane. I think insanity is the only way I can describe it, because everybody keeps trying it over and over again to kill SOT, and over again he just keeps diffing him. Is he about to do it again?
Yeah, I mean, do you really want to fight him anymore? I've learned my lesson. Just let him get his poke, okay? He's not exactly itemized for damage. So let him do what he wants. He's going to resustain on the map. Instead, let's focus somebody you might actually be able to kill, the one with death immunity, Aurora, in some trouble.
Hurry win. Waiting for the execute. Shell comes through. And a back away. Sam dunks in the middle of 4. Misses everybody, and Aurora will drag the heart bomb out, but SOT is packed. Shoves Sam against the wall for Paul to put him down. And Baronic goes up into the ultimate. Triple leap in for SOT. Scary D in the middle of 4 is in the dirt as well. 3 left standing on the Solar Scarabs, all 5 for the Titans.
I think Sot cracked Sam's mental, man. My man splits the uprights in that situation. Tough stuff. Great shell usage from the Tartarus Titans to stay outside of execute range, making sure that the hovering death doesn't find any value. Not even the stun, I guess, if you can't connect it. SOT, he's doing what he does.
Don't let him get out again.
No, he's
Stun
dead. He's
there.
dead.
Gotta be. No.
He's dead?
He gets out.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, look, unlucky.
Wait, why, are we even surprised at this point? Or are we just disappointed?
I'm a bit surprised, right? The CC connects. I mean, unlucky crits. If we get one more crit from Yarkor, I suppose that one looks a little bit different. Tartarus Titans, though, they've got every bit of the momentum. Fire Giant on all 5, resustaining in the jungle, and potentially a Phoenix Siege here. If there's no backs from the Solar Scarabs, both Hunters haven't even started their channel. Okay, Titans don't have bird's eye view. They don't know.
Baronic on the left side. He'll grab Oracles. Yarkor on the left. He'll grab Purple Buff. Trebuchet shoving up right side. Actually, Trebuchet stopped in place. Its minion's no longer with it. It needs its escort to go any further, so it is just a hazard in the middle of the lane at the moment. But the Tartarus Titans with a near 8,000 gold lead as we start climbing up over the Scarabs. We're only 20 minutes in, not even at this point. And SOT, every time we pan over this man, he is making mental breaking plays against the members of the Scarabs.
Yeah, that is. It's just a tough situation. Fortunately for the Scarabs, we're starting to hit like maximum power on SOT. He's not going to get too much stronger than he is just now. Upgraded starter item, probably going to be the largest power spike. We're about 3 levels out from that happening. Unfortunately for the Solar Scarabs, we're approaching the 20-minute mark where Paul's now one-shotting people, where Stu's getting his team fight items, Odysseus both finished up. Layers could start initiating these fights and absolutely shredding the backline with Toxic Blade and Kin Size. And Aurora, have we seen a Scarab's Blessing just yet? Has he revived anybody?
He hasn't revived anybody.
I mean, he's used them.
But he's used them. Used it on Paul earlier, got him out of a field to love. I think that's the only one I can immediately recall that he's actually used it for.
So they haven't even taken the massive mental hit of having a kill slip through their fingers because of that ability.
Not yet. What would be, what would make the mental break even worse is if he got SOT out of one of those.
Dude, you finally kill SOT, he just gets revived.
We finally killed the monster on this. Never mind. All right, we'll try it again next time, boys.
Yeah, I wouldn't, by the way. I just, anybody else has got to be the target. Tartarus Titans working their way through the entirety of the map, but they've just got vision on Sanford Soccer, who shows himself on wave on right. So they know they've got at least 5 seconds for him to channel that back. Could make pretty quick work of this Phoenix.
5 versus 4. Sam now back. Evens out the fight. And the Titans will back away. Still a minute 20 on their Fire Giant buff, but more concerned with taking everything else off of the map. Speed buff, back harpies. Blue buff will be taken away as well. I mean, he's already fast. He's got Wingblade and Witchblade to his. What's his movement speed at? Oh, it doesn't show the proper one from over there, but this man's zooming.
Yeah, it's not 289.
No,
I'll tell you that.
It's not 289. He's got to be pushing like the 500s.
I'd say he's like probably around 550.
Got to be.
And I know what 550 movement speed looks like. That's, we've been there.
He's zooming.
Absolutely.
He needs one more on that blade tree to get just a little more. Just keep it going. Keep the zooms up. He stole the blue buff too.
Stops to taunt as well. Does he also have the Scepter? They're raid bossing this guy. Fire Giant buff, Speed buff, and Scepter.
Fire Giant buff? No, or Fire Giant? Nah, SOT's the new big boss on the map.
I mean, yeah. Look, there are ways to deal with SOT. There are answers to that backline disruption. He's legitimately not tanky. You just need to apply that CC. And Scary D's hit a massive power spike now with Polynomicon finished up. If you can get that stun from Cabrakan, get a couple of Hunters nearby, SOT will die to CC pretty quickly. Unfortunate that Tier doesn't get CC'd for very long. His passive really great at that situation, but it's only going to take a couple autos.
No. Leave him alone, SOT. Leave him.
No.
Push on to Sam.
No, he doesn't win this.
Scepter's still going.
Dodges the side.
He wins this? Okay, he's not going to get the kill.
Do you think the Scepter shot gets him? No.
No shot, it kills him. He blinked and chases.
Come here.
It's an animal. Now he's got backup with Layers. Well, Yarkor will go down at the least. Layers gets the kill, but
made him faster.
He does not care one bit. He is still zooming. That Wingblade has effectively caught him back up.
Are you
now,
serious?
He can get the push onto her. He went into the wall. This man's a monster. Leave him all alone.
He's still going.
He's sending him back to base on his own accord at this point through. SOT helps to find 2. Scary D walks in. Curtain calls to him. Baronic on the run as well. The Solar Scarabs can't stop one man, let alone the rest of it. SOT, he has got to go down. No, Aurora's got ult. If SOT can make it back. If SOT can get back to his teammate,
God.
he's going to get out of it. He does the
Oh.
scythe too. Oh, that's got to be bad.
Oh.
Sam goes down to layers. Baronic, the only one alive, left Phoenix down. It is all downhill for the Scarabs in this push.
Well, they got the left side. Tartarus Titans in such a good position. This is not
This hurts.
macro diff. This is not the Tartarus Titans outsmarting the Solar
is
Scarabs.
SOT diff.
This is not the Tartarus Titans figuring out what their identity is going to be. We haven't seen that just yet. This is raw mechanical skill separating these two teams, man. SOT, he's just doing it.
SOT diff. Not even like roll to roll, player to player. This is just a single player.
No, Scary D got
Crushing-
solo chasm this game.
Crushing the mental of every single player. The fact that he is pushed so far through. This man used Blink and Ult to chase a Thanatos who was running away from him.
Yeah.
This is a man on a mission, and his mission is just kill everything in sight.
Yeah, once Sam got up to the air, he puts on his auto run. He's switching up his Spotify song. He's not worried about it. He lands and he's like, oh, SOT's like a half foot away from me. This is not exactly the best situation. He even forces Hurrywind up to defend him, and that just costs Hurrywind his life. The Tartarus Titans can continue doing what they have been. I think the Solar Scarabs just can't get baited by SOT. They just can't be separated because he's going to win just about any 1v1 on the map. And even if he loses it, he's just going to walk away from it and resustain. So don't give him those 1v1s. Instead, have the Solar Scarabs grouped as 5. He's squishy. SOT is not a tank right now. You can deal with him. You just need the numbers.
He's full build now. He'll be joined by one. Paul comes over to help him out, but now in the full 5v5.
Don't do it.
Is he gonna just?
You
is he gonna
psycho,
is he gonna
don't you
throw a
dare.
ward up there? I don't even know if he knows what's going on. Hurrywind got pulled back by Aurora.
It's the gamer headphones. He's
Taunted
listening for
in.
steps.
SOT goes in, misses the Fearless on everybody, and will back away for now. The Tartarus Titans buying their time. They can start slowly whittling away on the right side Bird, but they've got to keep their attention towards SOT. Recognize that this tier is still there. He still
Scary?
has a blink available. Scary D just dies in the middle of everything, and now look at SOT. He is wrapping back to the fountain to thwart everything that the Scarabs are doing.
Bro, Scary's like, yo, I'm built like him. I'm going to do what he's doing. Just gets absolutely crushed. A pin into a death is all it takes. The Tartarus Titans have decimated the doors to the Titan and are working their way forward.
SOT drags the Heart Bomb back. 5 versus 4. Hurrywind gone. Stewart gets that one. A rampage for the Hunter. Sam barely makes it back to the fountain. And where will Sam land with this execute? Surely it's back to his own fountain. He's
Yeah,
too
good call.
low to fight in there. Titan low. Sam goes in. Maybe one more kill on the board of the Titans. It'll be for Stewart. Give him 6 this game. And the Titan goes down just as fast as
You
game number
quit that.
1.
No.
But he goes, SOT goes into the fountain, pulls him out. Scary D comes back, but thankfully for him, his Titan dies before he has the chance to again.
That's how you know the Tartarus Titans are back. They love those toxic endings, bro, and they've done it yet again. Hard game to break down. Glad I'm not on the desk for this one. Congratulations to SOT. You've just earned MVP for just about everybody this week. I can't wait to see
We'll
the
put
Reddit
that one on
threads,
the
man.
ballot. Yeah, definitely get that name on the ballot there for all of you at home who'd like to vote for the most valuable primer, because after a performance like that, would not be surprised to see SOT's name thrown up there.
He goofed on
Just-
him. He goofed on him.
He just decided that they were his toys at that point. Like, he walks in, it's just like, all right, Hot Whip, now done with this one. Throws that one, gets a kill. Well, the old, I don't know, whatever else kids play. Transformer throws that one to the side. SOT just did whatever he wanted this game. So that's it for the Tartarus Titans. SOT finds some good plays out there. Titans find themselves a 2-0 win. That's it for us on the cast. We'll see if the desk can help break that one down.
Well, Shelly, there's a lot of things to focus on in this one.
Is
And I'm
there?
going to go, well, here, and here's what I'm going to say.
Please do.
I'm going to ignore a lot of Scarabs talk here. The Titans just have fun, I think, throughout that one. The Solar Troll puts on a show for us, and I think that's where I want to focus, Trelly, is that it was entertaining, and I had a lot of fun watching that one. Competitive nature and stuff, all of that aside, it was just fun, good tier play.
It was very fun to watch, I will say. If you were a Solar Scarabs fan, I imagine you didn't get too much enjoyment out
No,
of that
probably
one.
not as fun for them.
But, when this game started, I was calling for, how are you going to deal with Paul on the set? And that was banned away. And I was like, okay, they dealt with that. There was so many more problems in this game that were not dealt with by banning away the set, unfortunately. I liked the idea. I wanted to see Sanford Soccer on the Thanatos just because it was up against the Capri. Unfortunately, didn't get to make too much use of it, especially when a tier gets fed like that. I will say, as a Thanatos, if you don't have like a Magi's in full build, tier can just hunt you down. It is a rough matchup. I've been that tier, and I've seen that Thanatos, and it's pretty easy to run him down. So I'll just say, Sod had a big lead, and he was able to run away with it. And good play from the Tartarus Titans on that set.
I think that's something. I mean, you had highlighted that even going into that desk. You had said, Thanatos, you come in, you got to be the one that you're playing through because otherwise you fall a little bit behind, and then it feels like the entire game starts to slip away from you. That happened. The second half of that happened. The first half did not end up going as well, maybe, as Sam would have liked. And look, there was a lot of fun play, I think, that comes throughout all of that one. Some interesting. I know there was like a really sick stun early on from Stu's Medusa. Most of it at this point swept under the carpet and forgot about because the tier play was just so. I'm gonna call it obnoxious, but not because it was like egregious, because it was just so much. There was so much going on from it.
It gave you a bad taste in your mouth to watch.
I liked watching it. That's the thing. It wasn't a bad taste. It was a fun taste. I don't even know how to describe it. I'll figure out those words while we actually talk to the guy who did it himself. We got Solar Troll standing by.
Yeah, what a performance that SOT and the Tartarus Titans able to put on here in game number 1 and game number 2. And I've got, SOT standing by to talk to me a little bit. Kind of talk me through like game number 1, because game 1, especially what we were asking out of the Tartarus Titans from your last game, or your last set, I should say, to this one was for maybe Paul to get a little bit of active. Did Paul kind of just take that to heart? Because, from minute 1, he was just running at them.
Yeah, he likes the set. He just wanted to. We came in today, we're like, we got to be more clean today. We got to actually play some Smite and play well. So Paul just turn on the Jets. That's like championship form Paul right there. That game, a little taste of it, little sneak peek.
Yeah, I felt like we got to return to Paul Prime there, and then you had a couple of plays in that last game. Too many to count at this point. I don't even know which one we throw up just for a top play of the game out there because there were so many, but I think this might be the one here. What's going through your mind fighting against 4 of them here?
I just know they can't land any abilities, so if I just keep moving around. No, I'm kidding. On tier, I just play pretty loose. It's just kind of how I do. And I don't know, I was like, I'm probably going to die. Like, I kind of just write myself off. I'm not really afraid of death at this point, so it's like, might as well just do my best and try to juke abilities because I'm probably dead anyway. Like, anything's better than dying here, so might as well just, try my best to live, so.
Yeah, that part right there is gross. Not only did you get away from the 4, you also did the blink for blink to juke away from the scythe afterward. Yeah. Crazy play from you guys out of here. How does it feel, though? Now that you got Stuart on the team, you got a couple of games under your belt with him on the team. How's it kind of feel in the Tartarus Titans? Is this a new, kind of a revitalized Titans team?
I think we're pretty similar. I think kind of just similar Titans. We're just going to do our best, try and have good picks, and play clean Smite. Just same old Titans, honestly.
Same old Titans, but this time, a win for the Tartarus Titans. Congrats on your win over the Solar Scarabs. We'll get back with the team to celebrate, and we'll throw it back over to the desk to close out the set.
I think that is a very important note to kind of leave it on, right? Same old Titans, like, as fun as it is, of these two teams, the Titans only had one change, right? Cyclone's been leaving is a huge deal because of what he has done. I think just competitively and across his history, player with the most gods played in SBL ever, unique gods played across that. So a very, very tenured spot for Stuart to be taking over.
For sure.
And that's where the big deal feels. Other than that, you've still got 4 players that were the exact same as 3 weeks ago and 4 weeks ago, et cetera, so on and so forth. So a very solid team, and I think they showcased that here. Scarabs, unfortunately, do not get to have the showing I think they would have liked today. Yesterday, they get their first win. They continue a streak over the Valkyries that, at least for this year, has been going incredibly well for them. But today, probably not the way they wanted to go out.
Yeah, I would imagine so. This is one of those short memory moments, I would call it, where you don't hang on the loss too much. You recognize that, hey, you still got some learning to do, some team building exercises, whatever you. I don't know. I haven't been on a pro Smite team, but I imagine after a loss like this, you probably.
Yeah, you got a VOD review.
Yeah, you VOD review. This might be one of those ones you don't hang on too much. You just say, you know what, there wasn't a lot that went right in game 2. Game number 1, sure, there was some decent team fight play. Of course, shutting down Paul's set, maybe something to focus on. But either way, just one of those situations where you bounce back next time. That's probably the call that I'd be shooting for at this moment.
Well, and again, a really good opportunity for him here, as these maybe speak wonders. 1-1-11, even though, look, Solar Patrol, absolute menace. Maybe not showcased as much in the KD, the assists. Definitely so. 7-0-3 there for Stewart. Very solid, just good game. 4-0-6 even for Paul. Everybody on the Titans, I think, gets to look good in that one. But if you're the Scarabs here, I think you're looking forward to the fact that there's a bye week next week. And so there's not going to be any SBL played. You have until, I believe, the 4th of November before any of these teams are coming back. So you've got quite a little bit of time. You can celebrate Halloween in the meantime, but also, more importantly, you get a lot of scrims in that time period and get up to date, because you have to imagine this is a team that has a brand new duo lane essentially that's coming into it. So trying to get your feedback under you, like you said, doing some of the VOD review, talking to each other, figuring out the picks, the bans, the strategy, talking with Slaney, things like that. I have to imagine that what we're going to see in like 2 weeks from the Scarabs and what we saw today from the Scarabs is going to be drastically different. We'll have to see, though, how that one ends up shaking out. For now, we are still in this week, and we still have one more set to play today. As you can see, the 2-0 right here for the Titans puts us now forward towards the Leviathans, taking on the Valkyries. A very fun matchup, especially with how the Valkyries and how things have been going for both of them. Maybe not the most comfortable spot for the Valkyries to be in. Potentially going 0-2 this week. Leviathans looking to go 2-0, taking down the Dragons on Friday. Definitely a team that feels like they're on the rise. But, as had mentioned, I believe, by J-Mac earlier, the Valkyries have always, so far at least, been able to find that one sneaky win against the Leviathans in a phase. And we'll see if they'll be able to get it this time around. How that ends up shaking and impacting the standings, though, at least for this set, a lot of it, well, is actually going to be affecting that little middle ground, right? 3 and 4 goes up a little closer for the Titans, helps separate them, keep them ahead of the Bolts. And unfortunately for the Scarabs, it pushes them now down to guaranteed bottom. And we'll see if that stays the exact same. Maybe they'll bump up to 7th, depending on how the Valkyries go up against the Leviathans. But an interesting day. The standings have been in a very turmoilous. Is that a word? I'm going to say it's a word. It's in a lot of turmoil is the indication there.
No, I understood.
I don't think that's a word, though.
If you say it on air, I think it becomes a word.
There we go. Coin 2022, me, copyright, claim, all that stuff, all the fun stuff.
Well,
is that how that works? That's how English works.
I think
right?
that's locked in there. And again, if the Leviathans do end up losing here, we have another 4-way tie for first place.
Yep.
But if they just get the dub, they'll be the definitive first in the league for at least the end of this week. So definitely an important set coming up here for the Leviathans and, of course, for the Valkyries as well. Can't wait for it.
I'm excited to see it. In fact, you know what? I decided I can't wait for it. Unfortunately, we are still going to have to wait a little bit for it. We're going to kick it to a quick break. But then when we get back, we'll jump right into the set.